So, you just came back from the first video of me explaining what are variables, data types, conditionals, loops, all of that to do with Python. Um, right now, we're going to create the actual um, Python program, which is going to be really dope. Oh my god, you can see me, see me, see you, see us. Let me do this. Okay, so we are going to be. Okay, so you guys just came from the initial video of creating and understanding Python, how to create a grocery budget tracker, right? So what I need you guys to do is get ready to build the actual program. We won't be able to run this on a website or anything like that. This is just to run the terminal and to make sure that we understand what we're doing. Okay. I will also give you guys access to these repositories, which is going to be really dope. So what do we need to do? We've learned how to use Git, GitHub, um, the IDE, how to navigate it using the terminal, how to run codes a couple of different ways. And again, what are the basics to Python? So for now, we are going to actually create that full final build, right? And since we do have access to our repo, let's um let's move on over to our build, to our IDE. Okay, cool. So here we've got our old code, which we just created earlier on, but it's old now. We're not gonna use it. We're not gonna use it. So what you need to do is we need to create a file, and we are gonna name it grocery budget tracker.py to make sure that it is a Python application or Python extension. Okay, so when we create anything, we don't want to keep creating code. This is the thing, right? We want to use as little as code as possible because each line of code costs money. Okay, it's like that effort the developer has to put in. Each line of code costs money. So we need to make sure that we keep code clean, simple, and reusable. Okay, so let's define what we're going to be doing. We want to create a grocery list, right? A grocery budget tracker, right? So we're going to say define, we're going to add on a function name. We're going to say add item. We're going to create parentheses, and inside of that parentheses, that's going to be our parameter. That means it's expecting something, right? So it's going to expect a name, a price, and the quantity. Okay? And what it should do, it should return, let's click tab. Sorry for that. It should return mm, 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 it should return the name, the price, and the quantity, right? Of whatever it's asking us. Cool? So we're going to say name. We're going to create a comma, and we're just going to reuse this code. Don't worry. This is just to make it a little bit quicker. I'm going to say name. I'm going to say name again. We'll go down, say price, because that's what we're expecting. And you see it's kind of turning blue because it's calling our parameters, right? Say quantity. Then now that we have our function to add an item, this means that each time an item is added to the shopping list, we are going to be expecting it to give us, or it's going to be expecting a name, a price, and a quantity. So if I add chocolate, I need to make sure that I add 20 bucks, and I need to say that we have like 5 of them in store. Okay, or I need 5 of them at least when I'm going to shop. Okay, so next we want to calculate the total. So you guys remember this, but there's a little bit of a change to this function, right? We're going to define our function. We're going to call it calculate underscore total. It's expecting a parameter of shopping list, right? So now we are going to create a variable, and we're going to give it a starting amount of 0. And we're going to create our for loop, and that for loop is going to run through the item in our shopping list, right? So let's go down. Let's create our indentation. Oops, nope. Create our indentation, and we'll say total plus the price. Total plus the item, right? And we'll look for the price times, we'll look for the item again, and we'll look for how many of those do we have. So the quantity, we're going to times it. Okay? And what we want to do here, let me see what's wrong with this. Okay. So then we are going to say return. Sorry. We're going to say return the total. Let's see what's wrong with our code. We cannot say, I have to say in and not equal. And then what is wrong here? We need our, there we go, we need our colon. So now we're going to create a list of our shopping list. So it's expecting something, but we're not going to be adding anything to it. Okay? Let's say shopping list is equal to an empty array or an empty list. Cool? Now, the cool thing is we can slip data into our list or our array. Okay? So, the cool thing that I'm going to show you guys is adding data into our array, and we use that with the word called append. Okay, so you've got shopping underscore list, that is us calling our variable. We'll say dot append, and we'll say add underscore item, and now we've got a bread is about 30 bucks. And how many breads do we need? We need about 4 of them. Okay? We won't add any more. We'll leave that. Okay? Just to keep the video nice and short. However, more can be added. So now we're going to create a for loop that's going to take those items, right? And they're going to create a list form for it so that we can see how many do we have for how much, right? Like I would say in my shopping list, I need a bread. I need 2 of them. And this is how much they cost. Cool? So we'll say for each item in the shopping list, print the item, we'll say the name, outside, quantity, whoop. And then we'll look for the price. Cool. Now, we also will have a budget. We'll input and we'll ask them what is your budget, right? And then we'll calculate the total, which is equal to our function calculate underscore total for the shopping list. And I just take a sip of coffee. I need it. And ooh, why is this indented? Okay. What's going on here? Spelling error. Spelling error. And then we'll say print. And we'll say the total cost. Right. Is equal to the total. Then, then we're going to be using our conditionals, which is our if, else if, and else. Okay. What we want to check is whether this person is under budget, over budget. So we'll say if the total, right, is greater than the budget, okay, please print you are over budget. Yo, lekker stuff, man. Else, print. Oh, there we go. You are, whoop, you are within budget. Okay. So where do we have some coding errors? Let's take that out and let's delete this. And let's run our code. Okay. So it's saying we need 4 breads and they each cost 30 rand. Okay. So we're saying bread 4 times 30. Okay. What we need is, now it's asking us what is our budget. And I'm going to say 100. Right. And they're saying the total cost of taking 4 breads at 30 rands is 120. So therefore, you are over budget, which is kind of dope. And that is you using simple, basic, very basic Python to create a program that calculates your budget or to at least track it. And everything that you've learned so far and used is you've used lists to store items. You've even used append in this one to add items in what is required from the parentheses, right? For when we add items. So it's asking us for bread. It's asking us for the name, it's asking us for the price, and it's asking us for the quantity, right? Then you've also organized that data into dictionaries, and that is by creating an object, right? Then you've created loops to loop over the process of everything, and then you've also created very clean functions, which is amazing. So I'm really proud of you guys. Well done. Bye bye. Bye bye.